I wanted to tell the story of Larry the Mourning Dove. One day I was driving along many years ago, and I saw a bird flapping on the side of the road covered in blood. And I pulled over and I ran out, and I had to struggle with him in the middle of the road while a car was coming. And, he was throwing blood all over my clothes and my face. And I managed to get him picked up. In the car, I put him in a box, and I took him home. And this was before I was vegan. This was many years ago. This was probably maybe 8 years ago. I'm not really sure. I don't have a great timeline on it. It might have been less than that. Like I said, I'm not sure. His wing was broken in 3 places, and the muscle attaching to multiple parts of his wing down to his joint was, yes, hello, Lola, was also just completely shredded and gone. It was clear to me that he wouldn't be able to fly again, so he couldn't be re-released back to the wild. Now, previously, I want to preface this by saying previously I had rescued a baby bat that I found in a parking lot during the day. Back then, when I tried that, I found them. My first thought, as anybody's thought, is I've got to take them to a veterinarian. So I took that bat to the veterinarian, and when I got there, they took me back and looked at the bat and told me they had to kill the bat. I was very upset, and this was again when I wasn't vegan. So they killed the bat, and they froze the bat's head. They cut the bat's head off and froze his or her head and sent it to some sort of lab in Pennsylvania, the state I live in, and did then as well, where they did rabies testing. So after that, I learned not to take any wild animal you find to a veterinarian. Never, ever, ever. And this goes for you too. Do not take any wild animal. If you want them to live, do not take them. They are considered illegal to keep as pets. And there are very few rescues, especially in my state, for bats or birds or many other wild animals. The game warden and the laws pretty much say just to kill them. Straight out. There's very few animals that they'll allow a special permit for to keep. I know permits exist for bears because we fought against a bear that was kept in a local place called Jim Max Ice Cream. We got her out of there, but I digress. So Larry's wing was absolutely destroyed, and so what I did was I had saved a few birds when I was a kid. One of them being a robin I named Ben, and a few others. So I set his wing with a stick and some tape, and then I taped it to his body. And every few days I would take the dressing off, take everything off, take the saran wrap off. I also use saran wrap. It's the best thing you can do, actually, is a little bit of saran wrap around their body with the wing rather than tape, because obviously the tape hurts and pulls off feathers. So it took a long time for it to heal because he kept re-injuring it. And he did for the 2 years I had him, year and a half, he always re-injured it and would bleed again. So looking back, the best thing I could have done really would have been to amputate his wing, because the reason he kept re-injuring it was he always banged it against the bars when he'd freaked out, because he was always wild. He never ever became tame, not once. And so I kept doing that, and eventually it healed enough that he didn't need to have the dressings on. And I mean, his wing was absolutely shredded. I should have amputated it, and you can do that easily with piano wire. You just do it very quickly through the bone, which obviously hurts them, but you have no other choice if you want to save their life. You cannot take them to a vet to be anesthetized and do it properly. You can do it like they do in farms, which is when you have an injured duck or something like that on a farm, you'll use a piano wire and real quickly get through the bone at the shoulder joint. I know, it's horrible. So anyway, he dragged his wing and he hurt it for years, and he was, I hunted, and it's certainly not something I'm proud of. I hunted for a long time growing up. I got my hunting permit when I was, I think, 12, something like that, was when I was legally allowed to hunt. And all through high school, I would go dove hunting especially. You'd kill 20 or 30 of them in a day. so that you'd have enough to make a stew or a roast of some kind, because you don't get anything out of them. And it was another one of those things. It was a little piece of me becoming vegan. It was a little piece of the puzzle to veganism for me, a little piece of that path. And and like I said, it was another little piece of that puzzle. And every day, almost, he would do the mourning dove coos. If you've never heard the sounds, they do the. I don't know. You can look it up on YouTube. I'm not very good at the sound, but he would make it a lot. I'd be sitting there working or doing. I paint. I used to paint a lot back then. I'd paint or draw or whatever, and he would make his little cute mourning dove sounds and sing in the mornings. And especially when he heard the mourning doves outside, I'd put his cage near the window, or even take it out on the little balcony I had at the time, and put him out there, and he could see the other doves, and sometimes they would even come up to the cage. He could do his thing. It broke my heart that there was no way for him to ever go back and be with them again. His wing was destroyed. He couldn't fly. He would die out in the wild. So eventually, because I couldn't get him vet care, he re-injured his wing one of many, many times again. And I treated it like I always did to try and stave off infection. And he died, and he actually died in my hands. I was holding him, and he slowly passed away. Just, his eyes slowly wincing, his head slowly drooping, and I was tearing up and starting to cry, and he was gone. He was dead. I actually left him in his cage for about 2 days after that, just to make sure I didn't bury him alive or anything. But I know, it's sad, isn't it? But that was one of the many things, after I'd killed so many of his kind, and he showed me that they had personalities, and doves, of course, and all animals. I just wanted to share the little story, and I want to tell you guys, if you find a wild animal in most states, they're supposed to be killed because they're seen as nothing, and mourning doves especially are seen as the disposable commodity. In the wild, they don't live more than a year or two at the most. So the year and a half I had him, and he lived a lot longer than any doves would have lived in the wild, but he didn't have the best life. He did not. And I wish I could have done better for him. So if you guys find any out there, take care of them yourself. Don't go to a vet unless you know a vet very, very well that won't report on you and won't take them from you. Just thought I'd share Larry's story. And you'll see the only 2 pictures I have of him, because back then I didn't have a digital camera and cell phones didn't really come with them. So thank you guys so much for watching and listening. You guys have a good one.